Hi, I'm Jasmine Nicole. Welcome to the Motivational Mystic, a space for authentic, higher conscious conversations to motivate, inspire, and empower. Thanks for listening. Each week, I'll drop a new conscious raising episode. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Motivational Mystic. I feel by starting this podcast, I'm capitalizing on an opportunity that the universe is presenting to me to pivot, to make a life change. Sometimes you'll find yourself at a crossroads in life, and things you've been doing for the last couple of months or even years just aren't cutting it anymore. You feel like you're just going through the everyday motions of life, but you're no longer invested or passionate about things as you once were. Just going through the motions of life can make you become complacent after a while, where you're essentially just coasting through, but not really thriving. Now, this can pertain to a number of things: your job, relationships, career path, etc. I know for me, some of my greatest attributes have always been my passion and my drive. But to be fully transparent with you all, I'll admit that I feel like I've lost my passion and motivation over the last couple of years. And I think the pandemic really exacerbated that. I feel that the pandemic did cause me to get into sort of a rut. I also think collectively, we've all experienced so much over the last couple of years, whether that be the pandemic, natural disasters, threat of nuclear war, that a lot of people out there just feel run down and depleted. With the pandemic in particular, we all went through a cohort effect that was felt on a global scale. For a lot of people, coming out of the pandemic is like awakening from a temporary amnesia, where they're just trying to find their bearings again, trying to find their new normal in this post-pandemic world. So for me specifically, now that I've identified and acknowledged that I currently find myself in a rut, rather than sink deeper into it, it's time to do something about it. So I'm challenging myself to get out of it. And this is why I feel like life is putting me in a position where I need to pivot. I mean, what's the alternative? Dwell and quit? No, definitely not. No. I want to reignite my passion, my motivation, the pursuance of things that interest me and light me up, and spread some positivity along the way. And I think the first step in doing that is starting this podcast to engage with people, to share, to create community. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I have everything figured out. None of us do. Everyone is trying their best to navigate their life to the best of their abilities. I guess I'm just choosing to document my journey along the way. I have a wonderful video that I originally recorded for a YouTube channel a year ago that I was going to start, but I gravitated more towards podcasting. However, the message from the video expounds so well on a lot of the stuff I just discussed that I think I'll play the audio from it. So, the title of this clip is called, "Are You Showing Up for Yourself?"
Are you feeling uncomfortable or dissatisfied with your life at the moment? Maybe even a little depressed? Now, what if I told you that these might actually be catalysts that are getting you ready for your next level? I know, crazy, right? No, but seriously, they might actually serve as catalysts for you to get you to your next level, to help you level up in life. Because if you really think about it, you really only have two options when you get to that point that you're feeling those negative emotions. The first option being you can dwell on those negative emotions, which we don't want you to do, of course. Or the second one is to actually do something about it. Sometimes we start feeling those negative emotions because the universe is trying to nudge us in a new direction. Life is wanting us to show up in a way that we haven't before. But oftentimes we ignore we ignore that call to action and remain stagnant. Hence the feelings of dissatisfaction, depression, just feeling uncomfortable or even stuck come rising to the surface. But the thing is I honestly do feel when you start to get into those mindsets or that rut, so to speak, and you start to feel stuck or dissatisfied, or even depressed with where you are in life right now, it is a call to action. It is the universe nudging you and saying, hey, the path you've been on might have served you before, but it's not working for you now, right? You're not feeling fulfilled like you once were. And I feel like once we get into situations like this, where you start feeling these negative emotions, it's actually an invitation from the universe, inviting you to show up for yourself, show up. So I'm a fond believer in it's all good to have dreams, but a dream's always going to stay a dream unless you put some momentum behind it, at least unless you meet it with some type of work ethic, energy, good old-fashioned elbow grease. You have to meet the universe halfway, okay? Especially when you're trying to manifest the life of your dreams, what you envision your ideal life, your highest timeline of life to look like. You need to participate in the creation of that. So consider these negative emotions and things as catalysts, as invitations of life, the universe saying, hey, this is not working for you. This is not serving you anymore. How are you going to show up differently? You're at a position where you're at a fork in the road where maybe the one path you've always gone down and it's worked for you is just no longer satisfying. And then you have this new path, which may be scary because it's unknown. Or maybe you don't even have a path at all. You just know the path that you're on right now is just not working. So at least the acknowledgement of, okay, life is putting me in a position where I need to change. I need to change direction. I need to pivot. So how are you going to show up for yourself? How are you going to show up differently in order to pivot, right? Because if you're going to continue to just dwell, that's not going to help. You're just going to become complacent. Dwelling leads to more misery, but it won't fix your problems. You know, it is up to you to save yourself. And at least with knowing that you're dissatisfied with where you are right now, you know that you have nowhere to go but up if you choose. The dwelling and becoming complacent with where you are is where you can spiral down. And you don't want to spiral, right? Because then you might find people who dwell into all different types of things that may not be healthy for them to cope in order just to continue to get by. And we don't want to get by, right? We don't want to get by. We don't want to just be surviving life. We want to thrive. And everyone deserves to thrive in life. So if you are feeling this way, trust that you are not alone. You are your biggest supporter, and you just need to show up for yourself. How are you going to show up differently? And then let the universe do the rest for you. Just meet it halfway. Well, we can use me for an example, right? How am I choosing to show up differently? I'm creating a YouTube channel and sharing my message across YouTube. And I always have had a passion and a desire to inspire people, to motivate people. But I've always had this fear of just, for some reason, being seen. You know, and I think that really just stems from maybe childhood, where it's like, if you don't talk, you just stay in the background, you don't get noticed, you don't get bothered. But I did not realize how much of that I brought into my adulthood until I realized that I needed to show up differently for myself. I needed to show up different in a way that I've never shown up before in order to really pursue what makes me happy, what makes me passionate. And I think for me, sharing this video is a testament to that. But I'm not going to motivate and inspire anyone if I don't listen to that call to action to do so. So I'm showing up differently today by getting over my fear of being seen, getting over my fear of maybe even public speaking, and just going for it. That is how I'm choosing to get out of maybe not feeling as fulfilled in my career field as I once was, and really pursuing what interests me. Right? But all it takes is for you to just start moving in a different direction. Just start showing up differently than you have before in the past. And, little by little, those things will add up. I started the Motivational Mystic channel to really reach out, inspire, motivate. Eventually would love to build community. But also with the word motivation, it doesn't necessarily mean that you tell people everything that they want to hear, right? Sometimes motivating someone is giving them tough love and keeping them accountable, okay? So as I'm keeping myself accountable today by showing up differently and uploading this video to YouTube, how are you choosing to show up differently? What are you going to do? If you are not satisfied with your life, you may be feeling depressed, you may be feeling stuck, whatever the negative emotion may be right now that you feel you need to fix, you want to change. Answer the question to yourself, how are you going to show up differently than you have before in order to make the change that your future self will thank you for? All it takes is taking that first step, and the rest will fall into place. You've got this. Do not get too down on yourself. Do not dwell. You're definitely not going to dwell. I'm holding you accountable. You will not dwell on your situation. You will fix it. I'm holding you accountable. Okay? We're in this together. There's lots of people who feel this way. But it's just time that if you are not happy with where you are in life, you want to make a change, you feel like you have so much more to give and you're just playing so small. And there's just vastness of abundance and resources and just skill or love or whatever it is that you feel that you have to give to the world that you are not fully embodying and sharing. It's time. It's time for us all. And we can all do it. Just meet the universe halfway. I'm a fond believer. If you want to manifest your ideal life, just put some momentum behind that dream. Put some momentum behind that intent. And then let the universe conspire to bring it to fruition. But it only happens if you meet the universe halfway and you show up for yourself. So show up for yourself. And you've got this.
As I mentioned in the audio clip, you can look at the negative emotions you're feeling and dissatisfaction with where you are at this point in your life as a catalyst to get you to your next level if you choose to rise to the challenge. Look at it as an invitation from the universe to not dwell, but to show up for yourself. Dwelling is a fear-based response. Instead of dwelling, challenge yourself to conquer your fears so you can release self-limiting beliefs that you may be subconsciously agreeing to. Life is putting you in a position where you need to change direction. You need to pivot. You're getting these nudges from the universe by way of these negative emotions rising to the surface for you to acknowledge and to do something about it. So meet the universe halfway by doing your part. Do the work. Focus on putting energy towards the direction you want your life to go in. Use the catalysts that are occurring in your life as an opportunity for growth and advancement. So, how are you going to show up for yourself? The acknowledgement that you need to make a change to make your situation better is one thing, but taking action now to make a change that your future self will thank you for takes effort. It's up to you to do the work and make a change because no one is going to swoop in and save you from your problems. You have to save yourself. I know I'm choosing to rise to the challenge and not dwell on the fact that I've been in a rut since the pandemic and I'm not as motivated as I once was. I'm choosing to do my part to manifest a new path forward by showing up differently. I'm choosing to pivot. And hey, maybe my initial plan of starting a YouTube channel isn't in alignment with what I feel called to do at this time, but I wouldn't rule it out for the future. I'm still choosing to get my voice out there to motivate and inspire people. And I'm starting by sharing my own story. Eventually, I would love to interview interesting people along the way, so I'm casting that intention out into the universe for a later date. But for now, I want the takeaway from today's message to be recognizing areas of your life where you are being presented with an opportunity to grow, to evolve, to pivot. Don't be hard on yourself if you feel you're struggling right now, as we're dealing with the gravity of how the pandemic has impacted all of our lives. Many people are feeling run down, depleted, and really struggling to find themselves again and their new normal. Like I said before, it's almost like waking up from a temporary amnesia and you're just trying to find your bearings again. Many people are feeling this way, so just know you're not alone. You can make a change today that your future self will thank you for. You've got this. Well, that's all I have for today, everyone. I hope someone out there finds today's episode helpful and will continue on this journey with me. So, thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.